Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jay. He's Maddie. This is MMA Underground presented by the Yankee and the Brit. And we have a special guest for you, the StreetBeefs West Coast heavyweight champ, straight off of his appearance on The Fighter and the Kid with Brandon Schaub and Brian Callen, Shinigami.
What's up? What's up?
Well, thank you so much for coming back. And I don't know if you know this, but you were our first ever guest. And now you're back again.
No, I don't think you mentioned I was your first ever guest. That's wild. And that's an absolute honor. It's an honor to be back. You guys are awesome.
Oh, it's a big step down from the last podcast that you're on to come back to us. But hey, coming back to your roots. That's the way to go, surely.
And we appreciate you for that.
I mean, I'm just a guy from middle of nowhere still, dude. I'll always be that guy from the middle of nowhere. You know, not going to get a big head just because I got to hang out with two guys I grew up watching on TV. I mean, you know, come on.
I don't know. It is like when we were messaging and setting this up and you were like, I'm going on The Fighter and the Kid. And I was like, no, that's awesome because first of all, it's a huge platform, but you brought up something. We both grew up watching like The Ultimate Fighter and seeing Schaub on there. And then I didn't even remember Callen being on Mad TV till you brought it up. But then when you brought it up on the podcast, I was like, oh, he sure was. And you guys had me dying laughing. So it brought me back to my childhood.
Well, hey, that's awesome, man.
Well, speaking of you being on there, there's something I got to bring up right away. So the Street Panda.
Yep. Street Panda merch is coming. I've got my design guy working on it. I've got a couple guys who sent me some fans who sent some designs and made some designs. So there might be a few versions of the shirt out. Probably gonna surprise the Fighter and the Kid with a couple. I'll send you guys some too. Why not?
And I saw that they're talking about sponsoring you for your next fight.
Yeah. Which is awesome. I mean, and he helped me take care of the debt I got into to fix my car. The dude is awesome, man. Great guys, just all of them, but Brendan especially, man. He didn't have to do that. I didn't even expect him to know I had a GoFundMe or bring it up, and good guy.
Well, we know who your +2 is going to be.
Shit. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Oh, they're Scarface and Tiny Tank are just ecstatic at the idea of having him in an event.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You're going to have to tell Schaub he has to corner you.
Biggest thing since James Pulver. Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna ask him to corner him and be like, him and my jiu-jitsu coach would be legendary. Speaking of which, he just got his black belt in jiu-jitsu this week over the weekend, I guess. Brendan did.
I saw you tweet that. I saw that you tweeted that, so that's pretty cool. And I guess he's probably said it on Rogan and stuff, and I don't remember, but I just assumed he was a black belt.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think he literally just got it. So, I mean, I think he was doing black belt, like open no-gi type stuff. I actually know a few guys who do that kind of thing. They'll go to tournaments that are no-gi and sign up for the black belt division and do pretty good just because their top game's good and they've got some good, solid submissions. And no-gi is a lot different. No-gi takes away a lot of the control you would have with the gi, so it makes it a lot harder. It kind of is a equalizer.
I'm also guessing like when you're fighting, because you'll hear some of these top guys have like a purple belt and you're like, oh, I never thought because he's so good on the ground. But I'm guessing they don't get to train to get their belt because they're already fighting, so they're probably already at that level. They just never earned the belt in the gym.
Yes and no. I mean, it depends where you train. It depends on what your instructor requires of you to get your belt. You know, there's places that you have to go do jiu-jitsu tournaments or you're never getting ranked up, period. I got a friend of mine who's been training jiu-jitsu longer than me. He started doing jiu-jitsu when I was a yellow belt in karate, so he's been doing it for 2 or 3 years longer than I've been doing it, and he's still a white belt because where he was training at, he didn't have money to compete, so he never got promoted past like 4 stripes. So, you know, it's really depends on your coaches and their parameters for ranking up their students. I mean, usually MMA will kind of count toward that, you know, especially if you're winning with jiu-jitsu. You know, it's in my opinion, that's actually a lot more realistic measure of your jiu-jitsu skills than doing a jiu-jitsu tournament, because that's closer to a real fight, like a street fight, doing MMA. So
I remember Frank Mir saying on an interview that his he got his black belt after a cage fight. His coach handed him the black belt because he won the fight.
yeah, that happens sometimes. I never heard that, but that's sick.
Yeah, and but like being able to do jiu-jitsu is great, but then if you put that into an MMA arena, then that's a more practical way to use your skills, and you use it in a totally different way, I imagine, than doing it in just a straight out jiu-jitsu fight.
Punching changes the game for sure. Punching and kicking changes the game, especially on the ground. Punching changes the game. Some of the guys that are my fellow Blue S in my gym, they'll give me a hard time straight grappling. Some of them will tap me out more than I tap them out. But then we'll MMA spar, and now their little tricks of trying to slide out from under me ain't working anymore because I'm keeping them there by punching them. I'm not like hitting them hard, but it kind of distracts you when you're not used to getting hit at all. Even little taps are like, now I'm worried about this and not worried about the fact that I got this 280-pound guy on top of me, raining punch. Like I can't just move out. Like I'm I got to cover my head, so I can't push on his hips anymore. Now what do I do?
That's that full contact. BJJ seems like it's a good starting ground for some of these guys coming up, like what Eddie Bravo.
Oh yeah, the combat jiu-jitsu. Oh man,
yeah.
One of those where they do the palm strikes.
Yeah,
man, ooh, that'd be sweet. Oh, did you hear George Masvidal starting bare knuckle MMA?
him, and we had Jason Reinhardt, ex-UFC fighter, and he's doing a bare knuckle MMA also. So we were joking that those two just need to get together because they're both in Florida. They're both UFC alumni, and they just need to get it together.
See, I like that. I like that it's kind of starting to go back to its roots a little bit there. Now, if only they would just allow the gi again, dude, I'd be set. Bare knuckle, gi MMA. I'd be over the moon if I could go do that professionally.
Well, speaking of fights that are new and things coming, and I wasn't even going to bring these guys up because of the way you lost your mind on Brandon Schaub's fighter in the kid. You didn't really lose your mind, but
I went on a rant.
What do you think about Jake Paul and the Tyron Woodley news that just popped?
Now, that's gonna determine whether or not he has any legitimacy as a boxer. Because Tyron Woodley ain't no joke. He's got hands. He's still in pretty dang good shape. He's not coming off a hip replacement with a dad bod trying to get a paycheck.
Right.
I think he'll probably beat Jake Paul's face off. That's my prediction. But we'll find out. We'll find out if Jake Paul has actually got any skills against an actually good fighter with good hands.
Or how much money he's got to pay him to take the fall. Maybe.
Maybe. I mean, that is always a possibility in boxing. I don't think.
Woodley doesn't strike me as that type of guy, but I could be wrong.
See, I don't like the thing. My thing with the Ben Askren fight was I don't think Ben Askren was paid to take a dive. I think that Jake or his dad paid the ref to call the fight because there wasn't even a 10 count. Didn't even start a 10 count. I was so sus. It was almost as blatantly rigged as Tenshin Nakamura fighting Floyd Mayweather, because that was just, I don't know if you guys have ever watched Tenshin Nakamura's other fights.
Yes.
But that was so blatantly someone took a dive there. Like, I was like, come on.
David Hay as well. Back in the day, David Hay for the heavyweight boxing championship. He definitely paid somebody to dive. It was this Ukrainian guy, I think. He just came out like swinging every single time, and he didn't throw a single punch at David Hay the entire time. Massive uproar in the UK about it. It was quite funny.
Yeah, and the Askren fight crushed me only because anybody who watches our podcast knows I am such a Wisconsin homer, and Askren's from Wisconsin, and then he got destroyed, and I don't like the Paul brothers. They drive me insane. The whole got your hat thing. I was hoping that Floyd would have just like knocked his nose off, and I'm not a Floyd fan either, but I was like, that's how much they bother me.
Did you see what I tweeted at Jake Paul when he did that?
No.
So he did that, and then he went on Twitter and changed his Twitter handle to Got Your Hat. I was like, yeah, but she ain't got no balls.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh my god, it was like some marketing genius. Like he was in the airport getting a tattoo of Got Your Hat, and he had merch of Got Your Hat out half an hour after he did it.
Yeah, well, that's one thing. Those guys know how to sell themselves. Like, I don't remember who was on Food Truck Diaries with Shab, but it was one of those guys that Jake Paul wanted to fight, and they found out where he was, and he showed up and started throwing water balloons at him while they were recording a podcast.
Yeah, that's how those guys made themselves famous and made most of their money, was being jackasses. So of course they're gonna, do something like got you at and then go make merch in 30 minutes. Like that's just their thing, man. If I almost guarantee you, if Logan hadn't taken all that heat for what he did in Akigahara, he would have had shirts with the dude hanging on him in a forest like 30 minutes after that.
Yeah, 100%. Like Logan's trying to make himself a better person now and all of this stuff. Like he's big enough now to be able to be a decent dude, but Jake Paul's decided to call himself the problem child, and his dad goes around wearing a t-shirt with the problem child on it. I think everybody wants to see him get his ass kicked.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start paying a little more attention to Logan Paul. It's like I said on the Fighter and the Kid. I mean, people are gonna judge you by how you present yourself, right? So of course, my only real, I don't know him. Brendan does, obviously, so that's why he was sticking up for him. If they're not that way when they're not on camera, that's fine, I guess, But you can't expect people to not judge you based on how you are putting yourself out to be perceived by the world. That's why I try to be 100% genuine all the time and not get wrapped up in smack talk and all this other stuff, because that's just not me. I don't need to talk trash to sell a fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
no, and
so
I agree
Jake
with
Paul
you.
wins. Are you up next?
Hopefully.
Right? I'm all for that too. That's a good payday. You get my boy Shinigami in there with one of the Paul brothers, and we want kickboxing. Fuck all the rest of that. We want kickboxing. So
I'm down
that
for kickboxing.
No, fuck that. Get him in the yard.
yeah,
I've been saying it forever. I would totally fight him for free in the yard, but I don't think he would do it because he wants.
Well, before we get to the yard, and I'm going to get there. So after the big smile fight, you're looking to move on from StreetBeefs and try your hand at some other fighting promotions.
I got a pro offer from Fury FC. I still got to lose some weight before I'm at the sanctioned heavyweight level.
265 is it the same?
Yeah,
as,
265 is the cap. That's the top. So I was 280 when I fought Big Smile the first time, and then I had a little groin pull injury that I got training heal up. So that took me out for a month and a half, and I put 16 pounds back on. But I'm losing that now. Being sick's probably going to help, because I always lose like 5-6 pounds when I'm sick, because I never eat. I'm sleeping all the time. But yeah, I'm trying to get down to like 275 by this karate tournament I have on the 26th of this month in Vegas.
So you guys know exactly when you're going to do the big smile fight yet, or?
It was supposed to be this month, but it got moved to next month. Since Face is going to do what he did for me for Big Smile and flat pay for his travel costs to come out here and do it. If it's still happening, I don't know if it still is. I haven't heard anything saying it's not, but I did see a post on Big Smile's Instagram where he was signing a pro contract himself. So I don't know if I'm going to be the rematch is his farewell fight or if it's happening or what, but
I don't want to speak for him, but since he's been on the show, I do keep in touch with him every once in a while. And I'm pretty sure that he still plans on fighting you and then fighting in that, but I don't want to speak for him for sure.
Yeah, I'll probably hit him up, in a week or two and find out, like get everybody on the same page, talk to him, talk to Face, just to make absolutely sure, because I mean, not like it matters. It's either the rematch or a title defense. Either way, I'm still fighting again in StreetBeefs.
And you seem pretty confident.
Yeah. I mean, like I said on the other podcast, I respect his skills, but I think I overestimated his skills, and what I experienced did not meet what I expected to happen. In ways that were both good and bad for me. So I've been training for that rematch like intensively. And I feel like I we'll definitely be able to put a finish on it for sure.
So I was watching some Street Beefs fights, and guess who was the ref? There it was, Shinigami, reffing fights now. You're doing everything.
You know what? I love Street Beefs. I do everything I can to support them. Being a champ, I get to show up at events, even if I'm not fighting, so it's great. I love helping out. Reffing is a lot of work. I lost like 2 or 3 pounds the last time I reffed, and I ate like half a pizza there that day, and I still lost like 3-4 pounds, something like that. Because you got to run around that ring the whole time, and all the other guys that ref need a break, and I understand why. So that's why I like to help ref, and it's just good experience. It gives me some experience to branch out into other paths in the MMA field. If later on, if I want to make more money but don't want to fight, or I like to commentate, too, at some point. It'd be cool to chill with like Boss Rutan or Joe Rogan and commentate on some fights somewhere.
I would absolutely love to watch you commentating on some Street Beefs fights. That's the next level of Street Beefs fights. So we've got the OG yard, and then we've got West Coast providing some sun, different locations, and then we've got Scrapyard with the replays and stuff like that, and then maybe Texas Anarchy can have commentators on them or something like that as well.
Yeah, I can't wait to see those Texas Anarchy fights when they drop, man. That setup looks pretty nice.
Yeah, cause refereeing must be really, really helpful for fighters as well, like to be able to referee, because then you understand the rules more, you understand what the refs are looking for a bit more, and you understand what the judges may be looking for a bit more as well.
Yeah, it definitely helps. I mean, sometimes I'll come across some situations where I don't, there's some oddball stuff that happens that's like I don't know really what to do about it. Like that big Eric fight a couple of events ago, it was a boxing match. It was like a super heavyweight boxing match. It was huge, but the one guy kept turning his head away and slipping, and I don't know. That was hard to call because I mean I ended up letting it go and it went to a finish. And then just other things like but I'm getting better at it too. Biggest thing I've learned is you just got to keep talking with the fighters, and Jens Pulver actually helped me with that because that man is awesome. He's a UFC legend, but you go on his Twitch stream, especially if you're a Street Beefs fighter, he'll watch your stuff and give you pointers, and he even gave me pointers on how to ref better after the first event I wrecked. So that's where I got the whole have a conversation with the fighters thing. So I'll try to constantly talk to the fighters if they're in a bad position or if they're not moving.
Well, speaking of Jens Pulver, and it's weird because I am not the guy who gets excited over like famous people, right? I've seen a lot of them. I used to work at an airport. I've seen them all the time.
Right.
But he liked one of our tweets, and I felt like a little kid. I was like, dude, Jens Pulver just liked one of our tweets about Street Beefs. Like, so that dude is a legend. Like, I just.
Oh yeah, if you ever have the time to get on one of his Twitch streams, dude, do it. He's so down to earth and chill, man. He's a great all around guy, dude. Just absolutely, and he's a huge fan of mine, which blows my mind. It's like, dude, I'm a guy who fights in backyards right now. I mean, I got famous because of a kick, but I'm just a guy from nowhere that's still at like the beginning level of everything. And here's a guy. Every time I go in his chat and say hi to him, he's like, "Hey, Shinigami," and I just feel absolutely honored all the time. I mean, the guy is just epic, and it's great watching him help all the other fighters too. Because if you have, and this is anybody of the Street Beefs fighters watching this, if you haven't gone in his Twitch stream yet, do it. It will improve your game, I guarantee you.
Yeah, I love Jens Pulver, a legend. Just love that guy. So, Fury FC, is that the one that's in Texas?
Yeah, they're based in Houston.
So that's the next move for you, though, huh? So finish up with title defense or big smile, and then moving on to Fury FC.
Yep. I mean, I might do both still. I might be able to get a title defense in after that. It depends when they want. Because originally they wanted me for April, May, or this month. Then the rematch had to happen because I didn't want to fucking just bail on. Pardon my language. I don't want to just bail on Street Beefs without answering that question. I couldn't leave on a draw. Just not a good look. and just not good for my mental. You know, I gotta answer that question either way. Of which one of us is the better fighter. So yeah, I mean that offer's still on the table though. They're just trying to figure out when after that they can fit me in. You know, be great if I got an offer for that bare knuckle stuff though. That'd be awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much the plan. Go pro after that because it's about time I got, you know, to use my skills to pay the bills because regular jobs suck.
I can vouch for that. Jason Reinhardt out there, if you're still watching our videos after being on the podcast, then come sign up Shinigami for your bare knuckle stuff, man.
No, honestly, I will send him a message because we still talk once in a while too. I will send him a message right when we get off here, Shinigami, to get a hold of you.
Sweet. Can't wait.
Yeah, love that guy was like such a great guy to talk to just because he was open about how he fought through addiction while fighting in the UFC and different things, and such a positive dude. I think you two would really get along too. So I definitely reach out to him afterwards. But I definitely cannot wait to see some Street Panda gear. Was that Shab that came up with that? Yep.
Yeah, he came up with that when he was watching my video on the podcast a couple days before I was on there. And Chappelle's the guy who showed him. Chappelle Lacey showed him my fights when they were in Texas at an Airbnb on tour or something. So big shout out to Chappelle Lacey for getting Brendan Schaub to know who I am because holy crap, dude.
No, right? Right. You know how many of us though have went to our friends and go, dude, you got to watch this, and just hand our phone to somebody. And then it's that detail head kick. Like there's so many of us who have done that to people.
Yeah, it's wild now. In fact, even at the gym now, like every time I go into the gym, someone's like, hey, I got this guy at work. It's like the biggest, like every time I come into work now, he asks how you're doing. It's like, okay. All right, cool. Tell him I'm doing all right. And thanks for the support. Because it's just wild that all these people know who I am now. Like big and like no like unknowns and just average Joes. It's just like,
well, you got your own StreetBeefs team.
Yep. That was cool shouting them. I had to shout them out, man. I had to give them some exposure because those guys deserve it. They all deserve it. They're all hard training, hard fighting dudes. The Oni's doing a BLK Prime this month. He's fighting Reckless Rico.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Big moves for him. Two of the other guys, Savage Abel and Enion Oleron, are fighting at StreetBeefs West Coast 9. I don't know if Darkness got picked or not, but I know he's probably up for a title bout for his weight class at StreetBeefs West Coast 10. And then Apex Underdog, who I kind of screwed up his fight name in the moment because Apex Predator just fits together. And I was just like, yeah, in the moment I screwed it up. But Apex Underdog is training to improve his boxing skills for the next time out. Because he was close. He just needs to work on some fundamentals. But that fight, I think he lost or had a draw. But it was close. It was a real close fight. It was really, really close.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as we've been going through we've been talking to a lot of people in StreetBeefs, mainly in the StreetBeefs Scrapyard, but something that really comes across is like how hard people work. So people like Jay Gollum, John Harrington, Buddy V, people like that, all really, really hardworking guys who also have full-time jobs on the side and are wanting to be pro fighters.
Yeah, and that's that's challenging. That's really challenging. That's actually, you know, kind of one of the reasons I had to get out of the culinary industry because I couldn't make it work. They want you to work nights, and then if you work nights, there's no way you're going to be up in time to do morning class either. So I had to get out of that industry, and a lot of these guys do have jobs, working full time, and find the time to train, and they are hardworking guys, and I know they're going to go far once they get go pro and can quit those day jobs. I know all those guys are going to go really, really far.
And like they said, some of them say, you know, they have to make different decisions in there than they would if they were being paid for it, because they got to get up and go to work on Monday.
Yeah. And that's definitely definitely a huge factor too. You know, yeah, I'll try to knock people out, but I'm not trying to sit there and break people's bones. You know, I try to be careful with like the spinning back kicks. Because I accidentally broke someone's bones when I was in class. I fractured 3 of one of my fellow black belts' ribs at my dojo. We were still brown belts, but it was an accident. Usually he moves around more, and usually he's pretty good at knowing my range and getting out of the way, like sliding back and then coming back in. So I tried to put a little more push on it to match the distance, and he didn't move that one time. So knowing that I'm capable of that, I try not to throw too many of those, which you don't see me do it much because we're not getting paid. And I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't think anybody really wants to deal with that, you know, being out of work or being out of anything. I mean, it sucks. Getting hurt and not being able to train too just will drive any of us nuts too, because training is life. You know, that's 90% of the game is training, and there's that camaraderie, and you know, for some of us, that's most of our social life, especially right now, you know? So yeah, it's, you gotta be smart. You gotta be careful, and you gotta fight, you know, you know, your opponent kind of that way too. Cause, everything's going to come down to, you know, it's almost like sparring. However hard you hit, they're going to hit you that hard. You know, so you got to balance between doing what you need to do to win and trying not to hurt them and hoping they don't hurt you, like severely, because anything can happen.
Yeah, you got to try
there's
to
stuff
take
like
care
family
of
to
one
think
another.
of as well. Sorry,
Oh,
Jay.
sorry, Manny. Go ahead.
Okay, there's stuff like family to think of as well. So like Jay Goldman, John Harrington saying, "Oh, this will be our last fight because of our wives. Like our wives don't want us to fight. They're always worried about us getting hurt every time." And then you've got to think about kids and like how you're going to get them to work. So people like Preacher's son has to think of like getting his kids to school all the time and stuff like that. It must be a really hard thing to draw. And I do find it quite amazing that you guys don't get some sort of payment, like you guys at the top of the Street Beefs ladder. But I don't want to stir anything by asking you too many questions about that.
I mean, you don't get paid at any other amateur organization. So I mean, I think the only real reason people kind of go there with we should be getting paid is because we get so much more exposure. But that's the whole thing. We actually get paid in exposure, if you think about it, because Quack Attack, one of the OG Yard fighters, dude was an amateur champion. His amateur fight got uploaded to YouTube, and it took like 4 years for it to get 6,000 views. His first StreetBeefs fight had 20,000 views in 1 week. So, I mean, everything that all these podcasts I'm getting on, I mean, even though the merch sales aren't that great, part of that's my fault for, you know, not really pushing my merch enough. I need to get better at doing that. But, I mean, I got people asking me all the time, do you have shirts? I get put on all these podcasts. I got put on a like a radio show kind of sort of situation where I was live for like 10, 20 minutes. And that's how I got the offer for Fury FC. So, I mean, there's other things that are more valuable than money right now that come out of StreetBeefs. And then just, you know, support too. I mean, it's a community. So we're all there for each other. We all help each other out. It's better than any amateur org where you don't get paid either. So it is what it is.
Yeah, great answer, man. You well avoided. Media train. Excellent.
Yeah, because I seen Brian Callen really wanted you to get some of the back end of that YouTube, but I could be wrong, but I think now they started paying people. First of all, how do you set up a pay scale or something like that? But I think that takes away the fact that it's almost like playing pickup basketball, so it allows it to be legal. Then you'd have to start sanctioning it and all kinds of other things, which brings in a bunch of other problems, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. And I mean, Scarface has helped a lot of fighters out when they need it. You know, but he can't legally pay us for fighting. So, you know, that's just, and it's the same thing with any amateur org. They're not legally allowed to pay us. And, you know, some of them will pay you a percentage of ticket sales if you sell tickets yourself. That even that's technically not legal, but they kind of skirt around it. It's kind of an under the table thing. And because they're paying you for the percentage of the sale tickets you sold yourself in person directly, it's, but since Street Beefs doesn't sell tickets and they don't pay fighters, that's how they keep it legal. And yeah, I mean, really, it's just literally comes down to the fact that we're exhibitions and amateur, any sanctioned amateur org doesn't pay their fighters either, while making way more money on ticket sales and stuff, and sometimes even pay-per-view than Street Beefs does. So it's just optics. People just see Street Beefs more. So
I think Street Beefs is a great platform for up and coming fighters, and it does a great thing because it's a mix of guys who want to be pros, guys who just want to get out and compete, guys who want to see if they can do it. It's not, or the rare occasion now that it's actually settling a beef.
Or they want to advertise their business like that plumber guy that went on there. Or they want to raise awareness for a fundraiser like
Jay Gotham and Showtime Harrington.
Jay Gotham and Sawyer Jude. The Sawyer Jude fundraiser for the toddler with cancer, I believe it was.
Okay.
That was a great platform. I mean, that's what it is. It gets so many views. So on the one hand, we know we don't get paid to fight. They make it very clear, and we still go on there to get the exposure. And some people go there to get the exposure for either, like in the case of Sawyer Jude, where they need medical costs, help with medical costs. So they set up a fundraiser and then go there to get the exposure. Or the guy who wanted to get business for his plumbing business. I mean, that was brilliant. I mean, his ring name was his plumber business name. It was great, And then on the other hand, you got the people viewing it that know YouTube pays out for all that viewing money and are like, well, the fighter should get paid. But, and Scarface has said it a million times. If it becomes legal to pay us, the first thing he would do is pay us. But it's just not legal, so we can't do it. And he actually helps the fighters so much that in 13 years of 14 years now, I think, of doing Street Beefs and getting that YouTube revenue, he just barely bought a house this year, his first actually owned house. So it's not like he's hoarding all this money and keeping it from people. He takes care of people who need to be taken care of when they need help.
Yeah, of course. Jay, maybe you should get in and fight and use it as promotion for the podcast. I'll sponsor you.
You really want to see me get my ass whipped because this is like the third time you've told me I need to get to a fight.
Wait a minute.
I did something to Maddie.
I got you. See, we have you fight the dude, one of the dudes from the Craft Beer Review podcast, Steel Wolf, and I think it'd be pretty fair that way.
Boom, sorted, done. I'll sponsor you, Jay.
I don't know. You know what? I'm not even totally against that idea, but for some reason, you want to see me get my ass whipped. So there's a deeper rooted issue here, man. That's all I'm saying.
When there's a British scrapyard, Street Beefs, I'll be there. When there's
they're working on it,
it's
coming.
UK.
It's coming. They're getting it sorted out.
Ah, shit. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm calling it right now. Before somebody else takes it, your fucking Street Beefs name is the Hoodlum.
Mine, right? Okay.
Or no, the hooligan. That's what I meant. Sorry,
Green Street Hooligan. Yeah,
you're the hooligan, and before anybody else takes it, that's Maddie.
The hooligan. I have to go watch the road trip again.
Well, before we take up your whole night, we'll let you out of here. But you want to let everybody know where to go get your merch and sponsors and stuff like that before we get out of here. And everybody, I'll drop those links in the description.
Yeah, absolutely. So my Teespring store is Shinigami's Killer Merch. I also still have a collab with Heart in the Fight. So they have the shirts with my face on them. I think I have one in my backpack. Let me see. My sponsors, shout out to all of those guys. Forgotten Art Tattoo.
So do you get free tattoos with that sponsorship?
Nah, he's just one of the guys who's trained with me forever. So here's one of the Heart in the Fight shirts. It's kind of, I've been wearing it forever, so it's a little worn down.
That's so
They have that shirts, hoodies, phone cases. I've got stuff with my official logo on it, the head kick screenshot on it. I've got the 8-bit design that Craft Beer Review did for me. Shout out to those guys. They're one of my sponsors. I've got Challenger Tap House is one of my sponsors. If you're ever in Lancaster, California, want some good cocktails, good beer, or good food, go eat there. They have over 60 beers on tap, and they have some real top shelf liquor. They have like a Japanese whiskey. It's like $75 a shot. That's how top shelf it is. Other sponsors, the Confidence Dojo, Julio Rana Jr. runs that in why am I drawing a blank? I hate this cold. It's killing me. It's over by Palm Springs. It's I can't remember it. And then also I'm actually an affiliate with Guitarro now. They make the custom belts that I have ordered. I've ordered 2 of them. This is the second one I ordered because the first one I ordered, I kind of got it too wide and not long enough. So this is the deluxe Kempo belt. You can get anything you want embroidered on it. They even embroider logos on the belts. They have jiu-jitsu belts, Kempo belts, all kinds of stuff. They even have these really cool jiu-jitsu belts that have the next rank as a core. So as it wears out, you can see the next rank. Kind of gives your professor a hint to give you your next belt. Use code Danny10 if you decide to upgrade, to a Guitarro belt. They're made in the USA, so good cause to support there. And this helps me get a full sponsorship from them. So right now I'm just an affiliate, so I get like some loyalty points for when I buy stuff. But if they get enough sales with that code, I'll get a full sponsorship from them. They have a short list of athletes that they sponsor that are. I think they have like 2 MMA fighters, a bunch of Taekwondo guys, a bunch of Jiu-Jitsu guys, and like 3 karate guys for sport karate. So I'm trying to get on that sport karate and MMA list. So I think that's pretty much it as far as shout outs go, I think, for sponsors and stuff.
Did you get all that?
Well, everybody, I'll get you those links to get his merchandise. And thank you again so much for giving us your time again, Shinigami.
Well, thanks so much for having me. It just happened to be lucky that I was sick, so I didn't have anything to make me late this time.
Oh, no worries. And I don't think you were actually late last time. I think I screwed up time zones, but that's.
Yes and no. I'm pretty sure I was about 15 minutes late because I got home a little late and had to get in the shower and everything and look professional. So
well, don't worry. I had Maddie dragging on for like 2 hours because I screwed up time zones last time.
He messed up the time zone and there was some lateness issues, but it wasn't the biggest issue was the time zone. Don't worry. It's fine.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all that other good stuff. All right, guys. One world, one love. Deuces.
Cheerio.